I'm Nina Josephine, and this is the Tiki Oasis monthly series focusing on subjects of history, appropriation versus appreciation of cultures, minority cultures, Tiki culture, and mid century Americana. This series is our humble attempt to provide a forum for education, knowledge, and conversation. Through this series, we invite marginalized groups to amplify their voices, to share their knowledge and experiences. We invite advocates and allies to ask questions, and we also invite all to contribute to the broader discussion on diversity, inclusion, representation, and equality in the Tiki community. So, as we dive into our monthly series, there are many topics to unpack, to discuss, and to understand that are part of the current Tiki culture. So, welcome again to this month's series installment entitled BIPOC Pinup Parlez, which features some of our favorite BIPOC pinups in their Tiki finest. And what's really lovely about this particular format is that not only will we get the opportunity to see these gorgeous humans show off their tiki looks, but we'll also get this very rare opportunity to see and understand their experience of the world of pinup, a space not typically known for its diversity as POCs. So, yes, hopefully you've gotten the chance to grab your favorite Sunday beverage and are ready to settle in to enjoy this very special chat. Also, please note that this talk today is also a benefit for Dress for Success, which is a global not-for-profit organization that empowers women to achieve economic independence by providing a network of support, professional attire, and the development tools to help women thrive in work and in life. Please consider a monetary gift to the link that's going to be posted in the chat box down below. Okay, so before we bring out the ladies, I would first like to introduce you to our lovely moderator, Susanna Vestige. Susanna has been a photographer since she was 15 years old and has stayed dedicated to her craft for 16 years now. She's the editor in chief for the Velvet Gazette, a print newspaper that features women's stories and artwork within the tiki, pinup, and vintage communities from all around the world. And side note, the Velvet Gazette will actually be hosting the Tiki Oasis release party in 2021, so stay tuned for that. Susanna has worked with everyone from Bernie Dexter, Angelique Noir, Sabrina Kelly, Rockwell DeVille, Mosh, as well as almost all of our beautiful Miss Tiki Oasis queens. She's been a loyal Tiki Oasis patron since 2010 and participated in the art show in 2011. She's photographed at home and commercial tiki bars all around the world. Her favorite shoot locations include Frankie's Tiki Bar in Las Vegas, False Idol in San Diego, Shameless Tiki Bar in Vancouver, Canada, and Waikiki Tiki Bar in Mexico City, and two other locations that are sadly gone but not forgotten, the Luau in Melbourne, Australia, and Dawn the Beachcomber in Huntington Beach. She's shot pinups all over the world in Australia, the US, Canada, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, and in major international cities like Tel Aviv, London, Paris, and Tokyo. So it is my absolute pleasure to bring to you your moderator for today, Susanna Vestige.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us from the comfort of your home. I hope you're having an awesome weekend. And so, yeah, we have 7 awesome ladies that I will be chatting with, who will be sharing with you about some of their passions and their struggles and their achievements and their wins and everything else. So get ready for that. I'm going to start off with Miss Ashleida, if you could join us.
Just unmuting myself. Hi.
Hello. So Ashleida is a very well-achieved person. She not only is the style and fashion editor from the Vintage Woman magazine, she's also a burlesque dancer, a model, an activist, and a friend for a long time of the Tiki and pinup community. We've shot together, and I just absolutely love her for her heart for restorative justice. And
Thank you.
And of course, she is into rad stuff such as horror films and true crime podcasts. I want to ask you about what you're wearing, and then I want you to tell us a little bit about your favorite vintage designers or shops that you like to shop at.
So I'm wearing Vixen by Micheline Pitt. Let me stand up so you can see. I really appreciate the way that she does her Hawaiian wear, because she tries not to incorporate people or iconography like tiki gods or anything. I think that's important when we're trying to appreciate and not appropriate. So this is my kind of favorite piece from her. And then my favorite vintage shops are all in the same block, Magnolia and Burbank. We have Sloan Vintage, we have Play Clothes Vintage, and then Vixen / La Femme is right there. But I also love to go to the flea market, of course, which I can't really do anymore. So it's nice to be able to go to Play Clothes and Sloan, because they have policies in place to try and keep everybody safe shopping there during the pandemic. So yeah, those are my favorite current sellers. But of course, I always love to have Shaheen and Miss Hawaii. I have a pretty big collection of Hawaiian wear, but I always try and make sure it's fish or tropical and not really depicting people or tiki gods or anything.
That's awesome. Can you show us a little more of your dress?
Yeah, sure. Let me try and move this back a bit. Okay. So yeah, it's a cute little bolero. It has Audrey too from Little Shop of Horrors. So instead of doing tropical plants, she did a little monster plant from pretty well-known cult film.
It's so cute. We love it.
And of course, it has pockets.
Okay. That's awesome. What about in your hair? Tell me a little bit about your little accessories.
So these are from my friend Andy's Eye Candy. I don't know if she still makes them. I'm sure if anyone asked, she would. But yeah, she's also local to Southern California. And there's more than this. I just could only fit 2 on my head.
Really cute. I love her. I love her style. I love her kind heart and her really rad house. I love shooting there.
Yeah.
So, if you're watching, tell us a little bit about a movie you've seen recently or a podcast since I said you love horror movies and you love
crime. I really like Jensen and Holes. They are active in the the true crime community. They try and get a lot of cold cases solved, and they actually have. And Paul Holes was really active in the Golden State Killer case. I know this is kind of super detailed, but yeah, I really like their podcast because they are working with law enforcement to solve cold case files, especially with people who are marginalized and don't really get their cases looked into as much. And then horror movies, I don't know. I just saw Dr. Sleep again, which is a sequel to The Shining and is really good. So yeah, that's recently the 2 podcasts and horror movies I've seen.
That's awesome. And tell us a little bit about your involvement in Tiki Oasis, which events you've been to and what your favorite part of the event is.
So my first year at Tiki Oasis, I think I went with the lingerie company that I worked with. And it's really a different vibe from Viva, but that I like. I like that it's more family oriented. And it just feels relaxing. I don't feel like I'm rushing around to try and get to do everything. The community is very chill. and it feels like a vacation. I don't feel like I'm rushing to do the like everything else. And I really appreciate that you guys have programs like this, because I think it's really important to strive for appreciation over appropriation. So, you know, discussions like this are really important, and I really appreciate that your community and the Tiki Oasis community would go a step further to make sure that everyone's voices are being heard.
Yes, absolutely. We have so much thanks for Baby Doe and Otto. We're so thankful for them leading us in such a great way, and for opening up this conversation, and for just being kind of revolutionary in that way of just like really putting together like a council of a diverse group from the event. I think that's something that I haven't seen before in our community, and I'm really thankful for it, especially today. Let me introduce our next panelist. So thank you for being with us. We'll see you in a little bit. Miss Shellshock. She is a hair magician and a Tiki pinup mermaid. She has a tiki bar in her house, so I think that's where she does most of her swimming these days. But go ahead, and I want to see you. So join us on video.
Can you see me?
I love your setup.
Thank you so much.
So you have a big old tiki mug collection, I see. I want to hear about that.
And it's ever growing, always adding to the collection.
And you do go-go dancing at the event.
I do, yes. So my first year was 2016, Party on Monster Island, which was my favorite year. And that was the first year I also got to participate in the pinup pageant. So it was a great way to interact with other fellow Tiki enthusiasts, and also just get to make some new friends along the way. So getting to do that and go-go dance has just been such a fun outlet for me, and just to get dolled up and interact and just have such a good time with it.
That's awesome. So I have a question for you. What do you think about your involvement in Tiki, how that fits into your lifestyle?
So, I mean, I love to travel, and when I travel, I love to find tiki bars, and I just love the whole culture behind it all, and I love a great cocktail. So it definitely fits that whole vibe when I like to travel. And then, of course, I have my own bar here, so whenever I get the chance, and when I'm not being the mama that I am, I get to just make a little cocktail and have a little drinky here at home, since these days I'm not really doing much of traveling or going out. So I'm just embracing it here at home.
And what are you wearing today?
So my outfit today is a little collection of pieces that I've acquired while traveling. So this dress I actually found at a market in Brazil. I was out in Rio and just taking a look at all the little shops at the market, and this piece just completely caught my eye. The fabric was just phenomenal, and it had a little bit of a vintage flair to it. So perfect that it fit me just right. So I knew I had to take it home with me. And this necklace here, I actually got it at a luau in Lahaina in Maui. It was from a jewelry maker that was there selling her pieces, and it just completely caught my eye, and I knew I needed to bring this home with me. And it's been a nice staple with a lot of my outfits that I've gotten to wear. And then we have this hair piece from Nancy Fruits, which I've seen every year at Tiki Oasis. She always has some really cute creative pieces. Her Audrey 2 pieces, all the Venus flytraps, super cute. I love them.
I love how much you travel. I'm also a big travel buff. What is like your absolute favorite destination?
Maui was definitely one of the tops. I got to pretty much see the entire island. We rented a car and went all over the island. So I got to see the different parts of the island and just meet so many cool people there. Just all good vibes, good food, good drinks. Like definitely one of my faves for sure. But anywhere with a beach, really, I'm a happy camper.
And I wanted to ask about your hair. How long have you been doing hair?
So I've been a licensed stylist for 10 years now. And color is my forte. I love making unicorns and mermaids come to life. So that's definitely one of my favorite things to do. And I've gained quite a big clientele here in Austin, Texas. I have a lot of people who love playing with wild color, and I just love that I get that opportunity to create these awesome looks for them.
That's awesome. I can't wait till we can chat in person more about travel and have you do my hair sometime.
Yes, girl, most definitely.
Okay, I'm gonna bring you back a little bit later after
Awesome.
time with Zakara, but next I'm going to be introducing Miss Jesebel Thunder. So
Hi.
join us on the screen. Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I seen you semi recently to do a quick shoot, and I just love everything you've been up to and all your accomplishments. And today I definitely want to highlight everybody's really awesome accomplishments and just celebrate all that BIPOC pinup girls and Tiki enthusiasts have done in our community. So specifically to Tiki, since we all know you're like a burlesque queen who has traveled all over the world, and you've placed and gotten crowns and all that stuff. But I wanted to ask about I want to talk about your involvement in the Tiki community specifically. You've been going to Oasis for 8 years, and you were the first runner-up for Miss Tiki Oasis at the first pageant.
Yeah, actually me and Bunny Pistol, who's another panelist, I think we tied that first year ever. And then the second year I did second runner-up, I think. Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm so glad we have that little event. I personally love watching you girls get all dolled up and like wearing your favorite garments. Tell me about how you put together a tropical look, how you create your style.
Let's see. Well, it has to do with the dress and the hair flowers. I like hair flowers, big pieces, little pieces, and every time I'm at Tiki Oasis, I feel like I spend most of my money on hair flowers. Because even if my dress might not be Hawaiian tropical style, at least I can throw some hair flowers in there and make it work. But I think when it comes to the dress, it really is about the fit. Like for me, this is a Hell Bunny. I can stand up and like do a little twirl in my bedroom. Unfortunately, it has no pockets, unlike Ashleida's. I wish it had pockets. But yeah, I love the floofiness of it and the petticoat I have underneath. I have a couple sarong type dresses. Halter is my go-to. Halter is strapless. But yeah, I love it. I love the dresses and the dressing up bit.
Do you remember where you got your hair flowers, or did you add the sequins yourself? I mean, not sequins.
The rhinestones. Yeah, these are all, I think all the ones in my hair right now are Amber Ray from New York. Amber Ray Accoutrement is what her hair flower company is called now, but she's like a Tiki Oasis vet, and burlesque performer. So she and I know each other pretty well, but she's always there selling, and that's where my money goes to first and foremost every time at Tiki Oasis. It's like, take my money, Amber. Throw all the rhinestones on the flowers.
I love her flowers. Her and I have had a lot of like good deep talks. Like she's such like a soulful person, and then her talent with dancing and her hair flowers that are like so silky soft and like have like a million encrusted jewels in them are some of my favorites.
These are like super old and they just withstood the test of time.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. You are such an established and talented dancer. To make the time to be here with us, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all the women who are here today who have really found their place in our community. And I wanted to definitely touch on just how we've grown and how we've been able to really find our place and be accepted and be celebrated. And so I'm glad that we're able to do this today and focus a little bit on our heritage and our backgrounds and celebrate them. with Tiki Oasis, who have been a group of leaders, specifically Baby Doe and Otto, who have been kind of championing us, and I'm really grateful for them. I'm really grateful to be a part of Tiki Oasis family, and
yeah, likewise, totally.
So thanks for being with us. I'm gonna bring you back on after halftime. Next, I will be chatting with Bunny Pistol. So join us on the screen.
Hello.
Hey, so Bunny Pistol. Okay, let me talk a little bit about you. Let me brag a little bit about you. You've been all over Europe and the States, of course, but you have participated in the London Burlesque Festival, Paris, the Burlesque Hall of Fame, Hawaii, and you're also a cast member of the Hubba Hubba Review.
Mm-hmm.
You are you've also been a part of the Tiki Oasis Burlesque Showcase for many years. And you have your own show in San Francisco and in Oakland, some of my favorite cities in California. I want to just ask you a little bit about just what you're wearing, and then we'll talk a little bit more about kind of what you've been into these days.
Okay, well, we'll start from the head, go down to the toes. Actually, not to the toes because it's pandemic kind of situation. Although I did get my nails done finally. That was exciting right before Halloween. So hair is done by me. I used to be a hairdresser. I did it for many, many years. I specialized in pinup and vintage hairstyling, actually. Up until recently, I'm now a realtor, Rosa the Realtor. But I did my own hair. My hair actually has suddenly become curly again. So I am just working the poodle, as it's the easiest thing on the planet now. It's like, boom, instant hairstyle, shove in a few hair flowers and I'm good to go. It's so exciting. The hair flower I have on the back of my head, I don't know if you can see it, but that's Primitiva, who I absolutely love. She's at Tiki Oasis every year. And I always end up like spending way, just like what Jesebel was saying, spending way too much money on hair flowers because I think a major part of pinup for me is the hair, big time. Like, your clothes is just as, important, but I think if you've got this part down, you can like really, you could be like naked from the shoulders down and you can just be like striking a pose and posting your photos and looking like a pinup queen and you're like in your, in your moo-moo or whatever. But after that is this. Let me see if I can get a decent situation here. I got this at Moon Zoom in Santa Cruz. I don't know, it's vintage. I don't know who the designer is, but I want to show you the bottom part. I don't know if you can see it. Let me try it because it's got ruffles. Do you see the ruffles?
I love me a mermaid gown with some ruffles at the bottom.
Yeah.
You just $1 million.
Woohoo! Yeah, it's my favorite dress. One of my favorites, of course, because I've got quite the collection since going to Tiki Oasis since November 11th. This is my 11th year, so I guess 2011. God, that's what I do. I kid you not, like a good majority of my floral Hawaiian tiki wear is definitely done. That shopping is done at Tiki Oasis. I'll find bits and pieces throughout the year, but it's basically, I don't really have like a favorite vendor there or anywhere else because, I have a curvy body and vintage sizes are usually like what's left on the rack is usually way too small for me or just too matronly for me because I like to look like a sexy pinup girl. So whoever has my size and it looks good is my favorite.
Speaking of Tiki Oasis, which is what we're all here to do, right? Tell us about being a part of the showcase, the midnight showcase, right?
Yeah. So the midnight showcase is definitely a party because people at that point have been partying all night. all the great stuff that happens on the main stage has already happened at that point. And some people go to bed right after that. A lot of people stay awake. And that's when we have, it's like part 2 of the event each night. And it's exciting because we have so many beautiful performers that from all parts of the world. There was 1 year, maybe 2 years now, she's done it. This woman, I can't remember her name. She's from New Zealand. She came all the way out and performed with us. She did this amazing watermelon act, which was adorable. And everybody's, let's just be honest, everybody's been drinking for a few hours and the crowd is magic. It's electric. So no matter, I mean, you know, we rehearse, we do our things, we get ready. All of us are very professional, but honestly, we could do anything on that stage and they're like, yeah, like it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
I've been a part of that audience and the energy is really electrifying.
It is.
Us. And thank you for being a part of the Tiki Oasis family for so long. I've been a part of it for just as long, and I love like where we've gotten to at this point. I think we are only going to get better, and just I'm just so excited for what's to come.
I agree. Being part of the Tiki Oasis family has been such a big part of Bunny Pistol's life. I felt that from the very first year I went, I really found my place as far as like where I want to be as a performer, as a face, as a name. People are so respectful and so happy to meet you. When you have, and it's weird talking about yourself this way because as a performer, and it's also, it's flattering, but you know, that's where you have people walk up. I've had people walk up to me like, Bunny, I'm so happy you're here. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm happy to be here too. You know, it's Tiki Oasis to me is the funnest time of year. It really is. It's the most loving time of year. It's safe. And I could go on and on and on, but I just love it.
Thanks, Bunny.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to be chatting with Vera Sapphire. So join us on the screen, Vera.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. So you are from Brooklyn, one of my favorite parts of New York. You are Black and Latinx, such a great combo. And you're a go-go dancer and a stage kitten. Have you done that at Oasis?
No, I never have. I have actually never been to Tiki Oasis.
Oh my goodness. We cannot wait to welcome you.
Yeah, now I'm ready to go. I think I wasn't sure before, but seeing all of this makes me want to go and hang out.
Yes, absolutely. But you're a Tiki enthusiast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about your Tiki getup today.
Yeah, I am keeping it pretty classic 60s with a dress that I found through an Etsy seller who I don't believe is selling anymore, but I saw the color and the flowers and I knew that I had to have it. There's no label in it, so that actually makes me think it is homemade and not one of like the Paradise Hawaii dresses or any of like the big brands that people are still collecting. But yeah, it's just, I love yellow. I love the way that it makes me feel. I love the way that it looks against my skin. And so if I see something gorgeous that's yellow, I got to snap it up. I have these drop hoops that I bought from Marla Verduga, who's actually a San Diego based super sweet like photographer, makeup artist who briefly had a shop. I don't think that she's selling them anymore, but I love these hoops. They're very lightweight. And I just always like to have my retro hoops because I know that they are like hoops end up being such a loaded piece of jewelry, just in the sense that they are like, they're associated with Black and brown people, and the fact that they're like, there's a mainstream assumption that they are trashy until they like come back in style, or some Sarah Jessica Parker, whoever decides that they're cool again. But I'm always gonna have my hoops, so I love them. And I mean, I can stand up and show you a little bit more of the dress. I mean, it's a sheath shape that's sort of hard to get the like full excitement of, but just it's that like perfect cut that falls right at the knee. And so if that's like a shape that I can find, I always like to, again, snap it up.
You look great in yellow. Yeah. And so you're going to be performing on December 17th through 20th via live stream at the Latinx Burlesque Festival from Coney Island. That sounds so fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We were supposed to do it live in June, but of course that didn't happen. I know that Miss Frankie Eleanor and Kita St. Cyr, they are the organizers. They're working really hard to keep everyone safe and, you know, virus free. But yeah, that's coming up in December. It's gonna be great. And I'm performing. I don't, I just wanna put that out there. I do still go dance and occasionally stage kitten, but I will be performing.
That's awesome. We will be tuning in definitely. And it's so good to meet you, Vera. I don't know that we've ever shot together, but I'm hoping next time on the East Coast, we will get to do that.
Absolutely, I'd love to.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I will bring you back on after the halftime show, which I hope you all stay tuned to watch. Dakara will be performing a live song for us. I'm very excited to see that. But right now I'm gonna bring on Natalie Aguilar from La Casa de Flores. So join us on the screen, Natalie.
Hi, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yep.
All right. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm honored to be on with all of these gorgeous and amazing women, many of whom I consider my friends. So I'm just really, really excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks for joining us. I want to just brag about you a little bit. Natalie is a first-generation Mexican-American pinup. She has been working in the community of mental health for over a decade, which made her the perfect candidate for the Director of Diversity over at the Velvet Gazette, which is our print newspaper that we put out every year. You also own a brand of hair flowers that I'm wearing right now. And that flower wall, do you just like pick at them and like put them together on?
I do. Should I show off my flower wall a little bit? This is like 15 feet of all. And that makes it easy for me to pick out things to make my amazing, sometimes enormous, or, you know, smaller, or even smaller than that hair flowers. And yeah, I just love doing it. I love that so many girls have mentioned so many of the hair flower designers that you see at Tiki Oasis. I've been a vendor there. Well, I was there a vendor there a couple of years ago, and then for some reason I wasn't able to make it last year. But it's such a fun and colorful and wonderful event. And I wanted to highlight the before you ask me.
Yeah, what you're wearing. Tell us.
Since we're all, you know, BIPOC pinups, I wanted to highlight a brand that's called Aphrodisiac, and that's Afro, AFRO. And they are an African, I think they're based out of Ghana, an African, owned by an African woman, based out of Africa, all made with, you know, African fabrics, and proceeds from their collections go to fund things like girls literacy programs and women's empowerment charities throughout Africa. So you know, we see so many beautiful, vibrant, like floral prints, and I didn't want to appropriate. That's why I buy exclusively from African makers if I'm buying, you know, something that's African. But yeah, I just thought that this was a really beautiful, like, you could wear it like a million different ways. I can't recommend this brand enough. Like, the quality is incredible. For the girls who have mentioned, it does have pockets. They do these in pantsuits. It's just the cutest.
Okay, so I received a question live. I actually would like it to be reworded if you could. Tiki Girl, curious, how do you each find our community at Tiki events? Are there groups I can join? I'm not exactly sure if I can answer that. Maybe you can.
What was
Natalie,
I don't understand the question.
how do you each find our community at Tiki events? Are there groups I can join?
When they ask our community, does that mean women of color?
I believe so. Mhm.
Okay. Honestly, I just kind of, it's so easy to start a conversation with somebody at Tiki Oasis or any Tiki event, right? If you spot another woman of color, paying her a compliment, and there's so many beautiful ways that you can pay compliments that are genuine, and just start that conversation. I'm not aware of any specific Tiki like BIPOC group on Facebook. That's an excellent suggestion. Yeah, that was my attempt at answering that question.
I do think there is a BIPOC Tiki Oasis community group on Facebook that you can look up. And then I know there's the Vatos Who Tiki, who always do like a room party. So yeah, we're out there, and we will actually work on answering that better and adding links on the chats. So keep an eye on the chat and keep an eye on our Facebook group, the Tiki Oasis Facebook group. I'm sure there will be people there posting things about that. So, all righty. Well, thank you for joining us, and I'll see you after halftime.
All right.
Our last panelist, who I will be introducing before our musical little halftime show, will be Ruby Champagne. Will you join us on the screen? Let me talk a little bit about Ruby while she finds us here. She is the Mexican Spitfire of burlesque. A lot of you know her as Miss Tiki Oasis 2018. And she also won Miss Viva Las Vegas in 2010, and she's just been all over, performing in London, Bavaria, Toronto, Switzerland, and the Burlesque Hall of Fame as a feature performer. And let's see. She will be joining us soon, I'm sure.
Here.
There you are. I see you.
Hi.
Hello. Show us what you're wearing, and do you have a signature accessory or piece that you feel always completes your personal pinup look?
Oh, sí. My definite staple is always bake lights. I always say, I always add hashtags, I need more bake lights, because we can never have enough bake light in our arms. So yeah, bake light bangles are definitely, and the way they clank, it's like a certain sound. It's not like plastic or lucite or what's the other, celluloid. Bakelite has a certain sound to it and a certain smell that I love, which is weird to a lot of people, but it's okay. So this is my vintage dress. It has the pakemu, I think is how they're called. Pakemu, with the bat wing sleeves. It's rayon with the metal zipper. I don't know if I can move the camera farther so you can see the whole dress, but it's a very lovely dress. This was an Etsy find. Unfortunately, there's no label, so I don't know who it's by, but it's one of my favorite pieces, also because it's my favorite color.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I had so much fun shooting with you last week at
Yes. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for those images. I was like, is that me? They look beautiful. Thank you so much. It was so fun shooting with you.
Someone in the chat said, I love the music of bangles.
Yes, exactly. It's like, there's a certain clanky sound. I love it.
I love stacking them
yeah,
knee deep. Yeah.
Yes. That's awesome. I love that.
Let's see. Tell us a little bit about being crowned Miss Tiki Oasis back in 2018, what that experience was like for you.
Well, being crowned Miss Tiki Oasis was one of the most amazing experiences and feelings ever. I had not thought about entering, and then I ended up entering, and then the whole voting thing is ugh, but it's okay. I did it, and I made it to the finalist panel. and or the finalists. And it was so fun, and it was so neat to be able to meet some of the other gals that were there that I had not really known before. So it was fun to get to like, share a little bit of like backstage time with everybody. And it was fun just to be able to do like the pool strut and just smile and get to see everybody that we always get to see at Tiki Oasis, which is always one of the best things about Tiki Oasis is that it is a very warm and welcoming and just fun event every year, and that's why it's always such a delight to be attending, and now to like be part of it, and now to be a brand ambassador for it is quite a privilege and honor. And definitely when Elvez announced the winner, when he said my name, I froze. And I think there's videos out there you can see, like he called my name and I just stood there like, what? And he had to come up and pull me like, you won. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like it was crazy because I did not expect it, but it was very exciting, very happy, and I'm still thrilled to be a brand ambassador for Tiki Oasis.
And very well deserved.
Thank you.
You've been part of the community for a long time. How long have you been with Oasis or attending?
Since 2011 or 12, a long time. Yeah. But yeah, I've always been I think almost every year I've been in the midnight burlesque showcases, and I've also go danced for different bands throughout the weekender, and I've also done hosting for the Tiki Oasis TV, so interviewing bands, which is always super fun. I was so excited to get to interview Los Tiki Phantoms from Barcelona. So it was cool to get to chat with them last year at where were we? Valley High. It was like the Wednesday event.
Yeah, they were so good. I loved watching them and the band from Argentina. I love the international just pull to Tiki.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was 2 years prior to that, or a year before, or one of the years I had interviewed Ixtawele, and I believe they're from Sweden. So it's really fun to get to like meet the bands, international bands. Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, thank you so much. We love you. We'll see you after halftime. Okay, it's halftime time. This is halftime time. Whatever. It's time for our halftime show, which is basically going to be some music. So you can get up and stretch, get a drink out of your Tiki Oasis 2020 Paradise Point mug, or whatever else you got laying around. So let me just bring up Dakara. She is going to be a Car Culture Deluxe magazine cover girl very soon. We did a shoot. She's so multi-talented.
Oh gosh, thank you.
You are.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, you sound great.
Awesome.
Thank you for entertaining us.
Of course. So can I just get started?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll give you guys a little background. I wrote this song when my parents were going through a divorce, and I would make wishes on dandelions, kind of hoping that their relationship would restore. I was in high school, so it was a while ago, but it's still one of my favorite songs because it just reminds me to stay hopeful and practice mindfulness when it comes to kind of wishing on dandelions and letting kind of the sad thoughts release into the air and help us process some of our emotions. So it's called Dandelions. Drifting on by, floating astray, all that I've wished will blow away on dandelions. No more crying. Sun kissed my face, bowl starts to race. Just one more try before I break. Oh, dandelions. I'll keep trying. 'Cause maybe, just maybe, my wishes will come true. And what's been said or done will blow away too. Dandelion, I'm counting on you. Drifting on by, floating astray, all that I've wished will blow away. Dandelions, no more crying. Sun kiss my face, pole starts to race. Just one more try before I break. Oh, dandelions, I'll keep trying. 'Cause maybe, just maybe, my wishes will come true. And what's been said or done will blow away too. Dandelions, I'm counting on you. Ooh. Ooh. Dandelion, I'm counting on you. 'Cause maybe, just maybe, my wishes will come true. And what's been said or done will blow away too. Dandelions, I'm counting on you. Dandelions, I'm counting on you. Dandelions, I'm counting on. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Everyone, join us, all our panelists. I want to hear some applause for Dakara.
I love it.
Thanks, guys.
Amazing.
And I know we're really looking forward to wearing this dress. So show us what you're wearing and tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. Okay. So I'm a big thrifter. I'm sure all of us are. And I got this at a local thrift store by my house.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And then it has kind of like this back there. And it's authentically vintage. So I think it's from the 60s. It looks 60s to me. But I was so excited to wear it. I never have anything to wear this to. So when Susanna was like, do you want to perform? I'm like, yes, I finally can wear this dress.
We'll have to wear it to the next Oasis. Well, thank you so much for performing for us. I loved it.
Thank you for having me.
It's the best halftime show I've ever been to.
Yay!
So I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves, but join me on the screen. And then I'm going to be asking a little bit more questions from you, a little bit deeper, dig a little bit deeper with you all. I wanted to start with Ashleida.
Oops. Whoop. There we go.
So what challenges have you faced along the way as a BIPOC pinup, and how have you overcome them? How have you been encouraged? And what growth have you seen in our community?
I really want to be very frank when I discuss this. When I first came into the pinup community and the vintage community, I think I was very bright-eyed, and I had this idea that it was a community that valued intersectional feminism, which includes women of color, trans women, sex workers, marginalized groups of people. And the more vocal I got about those issues, the less and less it appeared to be that way. I think there are a lot of good people out in the community that are trying to create safe spaces and spaces that are more inclusive. Like this panel is a perfect example of that. But my biggest issue when I kind of entered the community was being alienated because I'm very vocal, and I really try not to sit in the idea of respectability politics too much, because I think it puts other marginalized people in danger, because it puts coddling oppressive people on a pedestal, and then the rest of us who want to speak frankly and openly about the way that we have been treated in the community seem angry or uncivilized. And I think that we can't censor people talking about the way that they experience racism, sexism, transphobia, homophobia. And then also, I think people think that diversity means to have, you know, a lot of different types of people in different races. But the issue with that is, like, diversity doesn't mean invite people of color and trans individuals and people who are marginalized and then remove the ones who are too vocal. We have to have everybody. It's for everybody or it's for nobody. But the good part is, I think, especially after, you know, I don't know if you guys remember, but Viva Las Vegas removed the Confederate flag. I think that was a huge step. I think that opened a lot of people's eyes. And I think that was kind of a big step in having people realize, like, if you want to have a diverse community and a community that's welcoming to people of color, it has to be intersectional. I think this panel is a great example of growth and of a community really trying to come to terms with the fact that members of the community have a lot more privilege than the other people and a lot more representation. So I think that was my biggest issue, and kind of still is. But I think, especially after yesterday's news, we're kind of being given a second breath of air to really work together and create spaces like this one.
Thank you for being so brave and vulnerable and sharing that with us. We've read some of your articles and seen some of your posts that you've put out, and I think that it's a lot of work, emotional work, mental work, but thanks to that, a lot of us are learning. And so I think that's the best we can do, is just share from our hearts, and I'm glad you've done that today.
Thank you.
I also wanted to ask a question from Miss Shellshock about what is your favorite part of being a BIPOC pinup? How has your background influenced the way you express yourself as a pinup girl and burlesque dancer and tiki enthusiast?
So I love that I get to basically share my culture within my aesthetic. My Hispanic views and the way I grew up definitely plays a part in how I perceive myself and how I interact with others as well. I feel like it's definitely given me a sense of belonging within the community, you know, just being able to be me 100%. You know, growing up, a lot of people thought because I was light skinned, I was white. So not necessarily getting to know me and knowing that I was Hispanic. And so I feel like for a lot of years, like, I always got that judgment of like, oh, you're light skinned, you're white, but not necessarily. And I feel like being a part of the pinup and tiki and burlesque community, it's been able to open up myself to others as far as just showcasing who I really am. And it's been amazing to just kind of be accepted by others within the community. And I just feel like it's been a great means of just getting to meet so many other people from all walks of life. And it's been a great transition and a great experience just being a part of this whole culture and tiki and pinup and burlesque.
Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
So due to our little bit of time that we have today, I'm going to ask everybody one question. And I think that this is not the end of this conversation, and there will be more chances for us to all chat about our experiences as BIPOC women in the pinup tiki burlesque worlds. But this is just like a little peek, a little taste of kind of where we're all coming from. And you can follow us. There will be links on the chats where you can follow us on Instagram. We can chat more with you. But most of all, I want to celebrate us, and I want to give us kind of, you know, a little platform to share our hearts with you. And so yeah, I have a quick question for Jesebel Thunder. What would you love to see more of in the pinup scene in general? How do you celebrate your background in your performance art? Since we all know you're a burlesque performer, share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah, as far as my performance art and how I celebrate, I mean, I don't always intentionally intentionally say I'm going to celebrate my Black heritage and culture this way. I think just by me having a presence on stage and doing what I do is that. So, and then I kind of like, you know, me being on that stage showcases and touches on the legends of burlesque that are Black, that have been doing this, that paved the way for me and so many others to do it. All the people, not even just outside, even just outside of burlesque, all the people that fought for me to be on a stage in front of 1 million people at a venue that's mixed with different people is, you know, celebration enough every time I get on that stage. And powerful, me taking my clothes off as a Black woman and being confident and sensual on stage is, you know, it's a lot. A lot, and that not people really like, people don't really think about, but it's always in the back of my mind, but I don't set an intention every single time. But as far as in the pinup community, what I want to see more of is this, what we're doing now, diversity and open conversations. And I mean, not gonna lie, it's probably not exactly super accurate, but for a long time, I felt like it was only me and one other Black person at Tiki Oasis for a little bit. Me and Tracy from the Develettes. I felt like we were the two main ones, like we're always there. And every year that I've gone to events like Tiki-O and other things too, I've seen more and more of that. And I think it's wonderful. I think not just Black, but diversity in general of all people and identities and everything is what I want to see more of at Tiki, outside of Tiki, in magazines, because we're all glamorous and there's not one way to look that is pinup. And I want people to feel represented and see themselves as beautiful and confident and glamorous. And I think that's key for everything in this world. Burlesque especially too. We need to see it all. But yeah.
Thanks for sharing. And there are a lot more of us, and there have been a lot more women of color joining. As the years have gone by, I started shooting pinup girls in 2005 when it was a smaller community, and just seeing the explosion of it in the States and internationally, and getting to travel to South America, to where my family is from, and shooting pinup girls there, and hearing about how they love tropical tiki vibes too, and seeing them get into performing arts also has been so encouraging. And at the Velvet Gazette, we always include women from every continent. It's very important to me to have representation in the paper. And I love that as we form the Diversity Council at Tiki Oasis, we're gonna see and continue to see voices from the BIPOC community being uplifted and being featured during Oasis as well. So just more of it, because we all have something important to add and important to make our community just so much richer. So I appreciate all of you, and I am excited for this next wave of even more representation in our communities. So yeah. Next, I'm going to ask a question of Bunny Pistol. I have a question for you. Let's see. Cue card here. What communities have you found within pinup, tiki, and burlesque and that have celebrated diversity the most? Would you like to see any platforms or groups being formed that support being BIPOC in the tiki or retro scenes?
Yes, absolutely. BurleyCon. BurleyCon is a burlesque convention that is held in Seattle, well, outside of Seattle, across the street from the airport, actually, at one of the hotels. That was the first convention, and it's put together by Indigo Blue, who is a burlesque queen. I just want to put that out there. And now it is managed and run by her and an entire staff who is BIPOC, queer, straight, all the rainbow and personalities. A very strong staff, honestly, and it's very important to them to make it diverse, to keep it diverse. It is the most diverse convention ever. And basically, just to give it a little background, there's dance classes, there's symposiums, there's talks, there's panels, there's shopping, there's all the things. It's a fall winter camp for burlesque performers. So we don't go there looking like this. We go there looking like, you know, we're ready to do some work. Our sleeves are rolled up. We're in our stretch pants. We're in our dance wear. We're in our whatever it is that we do when behind the curtain. We're in that, no makeup. We look like, I remember G's Louise posted something, what we look like on stage, and it's like Beyonce. And then what we really look like at BurleyCon, and it's like James Brown after like, you know, a month-long bender. But Frozen? Okay, no. But it is the most diverse, like it is everybody. And also I have to put out there that Baby Doe, who is, you know, Queen Tiki Oasis, the madam herself, she's attended BurleyCon and she has taught at BurleyCon. And I think that she has taken some notes from what she experienced at BurleyCon and brought them into Tiki Oasis. It taught her, I think she got to use that experience as bringing in more diverse people too, and celebrating all of us. I really find that we're only going to see more and more of that at a lot of these events. For example, before I attended BurleyCon, I did see that there was a strong Chicano presence at Viva Las Vegas, because the majority are from LA at that time that were attending Viva. That was years and years ago. Yeah, I would have to say strongly, super like high, like all the events here kind of here with diversity, and BurleyCon is just like off the charts.
I love hearing that. I love that.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Vera, I want to hear from you. Tell us how the Tiki and burlesque communities intersect, and how do you feel they're continuing to welcome BIPOC performers? I think Bunny also spoke a lot about that. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about the Latinx burlesque event that you're going to be a part of. And then when you chat about that, can you tell us if you'd like to see any changes, or if you want to tell us about what strides you've seen?
Yeah, I think as far as where the overlap happens, I mean, I think a lot of that comes from the events wanting to have burlesque, and then people are like, okay, I'm going to perform, and now I'm maybe more in the scene than I had been before. I think that's, again, like where a lot of that happens. I am very, very excited to do the festival, which this is the inaugural year, sorry. In December, I think Miss Frankie Eleanor and Kita St. Cyr have really done an amazing job curating a range of acts that, you know, it's not just tutti frutti hats. It's just everything that people feel they want to bring. And no, I don't think a lot of the performers have said, okay, I'm going, and kind of what Jesebel said, you know, not saying, okay, I'm going to sit down and make a Latin act. It's more, you know, you bring all of yourself to your art, and however that looks for that number, the 4 minutes, is what what you get. As far as kind of the Latinx part, I want to see more and more of, more women that look like me, because I do think that a lot of people will see something that advertises or that say, we want Latinx performers, and then a lot of the performers will be like what we're used to, that sort of like they'll look more Italian, or we don't all look like Salma Hayek. When it comes down to it, about I believe it's 70% of the enslaved people brought to the New World went to Latin America and went to the Caribbean, and so there are just a whole bunch of Black people there. And so, but it doesn't always feel welcoming, and that's easy to understand because up until fairly recently, Sábado Gigante had blackface on TV. That was a show broadcast like all through the U.S. You could see it on Saturday. You sit down with your family and you're like, oh, okay. So tell me how you really feel, or just the mere fact that a lot of countries. I really think it's only been in the last 15 years that Mexico has even included Black people in its census. So I want to have more negras feel welcome. And I think that that's definitely starting to shift. I know that, maybe this was 4 or 5 years ago, I submitted to Latina Pinups. I was really excited to be featured, and I spoke to another Panamanian girl, and she was like, seeing you gave me the courage to submit. Her name is Diana Moore. Diane, if you're here, hello. But it gave me the courage to submit because that meant for her that, you would be recognized, which is not always the case.
Thank you for sharing so many important points, some encouraging notes, and a lot of really important things to discuss. Thank you so much for all of that. I remember growing up on Sábado Gigante. It's not the best show, and but it's what you grow up seeing, and then you just think the things on there are normal, or it's so ingrained, and we're so steeped in a lot of really racist stuff as Hispanic people, Latino people. So thank you for shedding light on some of that, and thank you for being here today, and thank you for performing, and we can't wait to see you just grow as a performer, perform at this event in New York, and join us at the next Oasis. We cannot wait to meet you in person, and I can't wait to photograph you.
Thank you. I'm really excited about all of that too. Thanks.
My next question is for Natalie. What do you wish more people understood about pinup fashion or aesthetic? How does your culture influence how you dress as a pinup, specifically in tropical inspired styles?
I think that what a lot of people just in the general community say when they see me in pinup, I get one of two things. It's either like, are you wearing a costume? Are you doing a play? Like that kind of thing. But then beyond that, it's like, oh, is this the clothing of your people? And it's a very weird thing. I have part of my clothes right here next to me, and I was looking for a print that I have that has monsters all over it. And I love Dia de los Muertos, right? Dia de los Muertos is the foundation of the inspiration for my floral business, actually, Dia de los Muertos and Frida Kahlo. But I was wearing something, it had skulls and little monsters all over it. And it was the middle of June, and I had a woman come up to me at a cafe here in Southern California and say oh, happy Dia de los Muertos. I celebrate Dia de los Muertos too. And I was just like, what is she randomly talking to me for? And then I realized because there are skulls amidst all of the other monsters on my print. And I wish that people understood that. I mean, there's so much that I wish that people understood, but within the vintage realm, it's that, it's obviously not a costume. And then beyond that, that this look is for everybody. And at the time it was for everybody. And then unfortunately what we see when we pull up old media for the most part are white faces, but there are, you know, beautiful like vintage Latina magazines and African American periodicals and just pinups all over the world. So, and then what I do, like, to infuse, I try to infuse part of my Latin Mexican heritage into as many looks as I can. And one of the things that I forgot to mention earlier, I don't know if you can see this. This is a bronze hand painted bracelet, and I'm wearing it, and I had the earrings on before. And these are made in I think Guanajuato, and I have one of them here. So I try to blend part of my culture in with just like my fun daily tiki culture. And then, like I mentioned, Frida Kahlo before, hair flowers, it's my business, but like I have people when I post pictures on Instagram and I'm not wearing flowers say like, oh, I hardly recognize you without a flower in your hair, because they're so ubiquitous of my look.
And I want to thank you specifically, Natalie, for being a voice in my life, for always encouraging me to pay special attention to inclusivity at the paper. Thank you for joining the team. And thank you for being on set at a lot of shoots and just always having so much wisdom to share with everybody, and for sharing with us your talents of creating masterpieces. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, Susanna, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for saying that and for inviting me to be part of the Gazette. You mentioned my history of working in mental health before, and it really was working with a very vast, I mean, it's community mental health, right? So it's a very vast collection of underserved populations. So I just always have my like lens turned onto that. And I think that if we don't have that friend or that experience that says like, hey, you know, like your last two cover girls have been white, we could use a little color, you know, like it's really easy to just slip into it because there are so many extraordinarily beautiful women that we want to feature that we might forget how important it is to highlight other women of color. So thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when I personally have been steeped in a lot of just white culture personally. But so I just thank you so much for being that little champion for all of us, right? Even those of us who don't realize that we could do a little better. We could all do a little better. And so I'm really encouraged by that. Let's see. We have one more question for today's panel on BIPOC pinups. And it's Ruby Champagne. My question for you is, who are some of your OG BIPOC pinup inspirations or favorite icons from yesteryear? Or who are some modern pinups that you're inspired by? And what are your earliest memories of finding other modern pinup girls when you first entered the scene, specifically women that looked like you?
I don't know if they were necessarily considered pinups, but it's funny because if you Google Mexican pinups, there's a slew of pictures of beautiful images of, you know, these gals wearing like traditional Mexican attire, but we don't know who they are. So there's probably a book somewhere that might mention a name or two, but it's more just about the images. But my personal inspiration, first and foremost, is always going to be Kitten Natividad, living burlesque legend. I adore her so much, and I had to share the postcards that I have here. These are a couple that I have, and then I have my 8x10. Oh, and then I wanted to share, I recently last year did a tribute act to Kitten Natividad, and she came to see the show. So that's me and Kitten last year. And she came to see the show, and it was the best feeling in the world to have her be on the sideline watching me perform this tribute act for her, and her screaming, "That's me! She looks like me!" It was like the best feeling because I felt like, yes, I did it, and I admire her so much. So she's definitely one of my first and foremost inspirations as far as being a Latina. And of course, Lupe Velez. She was known in the golden age of Mexican cinema. She passed in 1944. She was also a Cancer, like me. So I feel like there was, when I studied a lot about her, I felt like there was a lot of similarities with her and I, so that just kind of drew me more towards her. Again, I don't know if she was necessarily considered a pinup, but some of her images are really, really gorgeous. So I do admire her. And also another one is Rosy Mendoza, who is, she's in that, it's a Netflix documentary, Bellas de la Noche, I think it's called. I haven't seen it in a few years, but she's in that documentary. And I love getting to correspond with her through Instagram. So she's a delight. And if you look up her image, actually, I think I saved some so I could share because she's just a total knockout. This is Rosy Mendoza. So she's definitely one of my inspirations as well. Oh, and I do have I actually did a photo shoot many years ago inspired by Lupe. And so that's one of her images. So those are some of them. What was the other question?
What are your earliest memories of finding
yes.
modern people who look like you?
So running into people that look like me. Well, I think, being in Los Angeles, and there's definitely like, I don't know what they're called, like Taco Billies, Latino Billies, Raza Billies. There's all kinds of names for them. So there's definitely a big Latinx. Sorry, I'm older, so I'm used to saying Latino. Sorry. So there's definitely a lot of Latinx people involved in the rockabilly community, the rockabilly scene in Southern California. So it was actually quite organic to me. I just felt like, okay, this is another part. Also because I feel like I've always been around a lot of Latinx activities or communities or scenes, because prior to being more into the pinup and rockabilly scene, I was heavily salsera. I was a salsaholic. I would go dancing like 5 nights a week, which is obviously a lot of Latin people there as well. So it was, I don't know, to me it wasn't really like, oh, there's another Latina there that I can maybe chat with or whatever, because there were so many. So I didn't really find it to be a rarity really when I discovered more of the pinup rockabilly scene. But again, it might have a lot to do with being in Los Angeles.
Yeah, being a part of the salsa scene for me was also like, for me was the first time getting to be around a lot of people from my cultural background.
Mm-hmm. Me too, actually. I should say it's funny, but it's true. I really did not realize that I was Mexican until I was in my 20s, because I grew up in Orange County, which is very white. I grew up in like Yorba Linda, Brea, not like in Santa Ana, Anaheim, where there's more Latino communities. So I grew up white. So yeah, like finding the salsa scene definitely was like, oh my gosh, I'm Mexican. Yeah.
Vera, you're also in the dance community, the salsa community?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Especially in like my early to mid 20s, I was out. I mean, that's the best part about New York.
The Copa.
Every night of the week. Yeah. And I would just like keep track of them in my head. I'm like, well, Sunday, like we're at Taj, and Tuesday, I loved it. I used
to go to the Copa a lot. I love Copa.
Love Copa.
Yeah, I lived in New York for 3 years, so cool. I went. So I danced on 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay, so on 2, yes.
Oh yeah.
I've never gone dancing in California.
Baby Doe, I think we need a salsa night at the next Oasis. Salsa.
I second that emotion. Yes.
It's like a salsera. So I like it. We want more at the next Tiki Oasis. salsa night.
A little salsa social.
The next Tiki Oasis. I vote for that.
That would be amazing.
Before we log off today, we've been actually very, very good about staying on schedule. Did I miss anybody? Raise your hand if you didn't get to chat with me on question number 2. No? Wow. Well, we have been a little bit ahead of schedule. Dakara, I know you performed for us, but I want you to just get a little chance to say a little something for us. Tell us about your experience as a BIPOC pinup girl in, you know, our vintage scenes, in the vintage world. Tell us about it.
Okay, cool. I wasn't expecting to speak, but yay. So my experience, I was obsessed with Turner Classic Movies since I was a child. I asked for an Ella Fitzgerald CD when I was 6 years old. So I've always been just in love with the glamorous side of vintage and pinup. But something that would always discouraged me from dressing pinup was the fact that so many of the faces I was seeing were white or white passing. And it wasn't until college, undergrad, where I got obsessed with Dorothy Dandridge, and she became kind of my encouragement to start dressing vintage again. And I had always had pieces of vintage throughout my life. But it wasn't until like grad school I really started dressing vintage, because I felt to a degree that it didn't belong to me. I felt that because of all the faces I saw that didn't look like me, I wasn't allowed. It was kind of like a special thing for those people. And until I started embracing just who I am as a Black Filipino woman, and mixed race, and usually getting tied into different ethnicities and things like that, like I needed to find who I was and my cultural and ethnic identity outside of what other people would put me in, because I can kind of blend in with a lot of different ethnicities, and I just felt like I didn't belong really anywhere. I think that's a struggle for a lot of mixed race people, but once I started embracing that side of me, I felt like fully my authentic self. And looking on YouTube to try to find like vintage styling for natural hair for like 3C curl pattern, like I can't find that anywhere. It's impossible. And so I just had to create it on my own. It was literally just a learning process, because there is no like curl pattern roller set for 3C hair. That's like not a thing. At least I haven't found it. If someone else has, please like direct me. So it was difficult, but it was just a learning process. I felt like I was alone a lot of the time going through my pinup vintage love and dress and things like that, because no one really looked like me in that community. And if they did, they weren't Black, they were Latin, or they weren't Filipino. Like it was hard for me to find someone that really like I could identify with. But just being in something like this panel and seeing all the beautiful women of color, it's really inspiring, because just for the longest time, I really felt like I didn't belong, and it didn't belong to me. And to see all these faces, it's like, finally I belong. So thank you for having me, guys, because it has been a struggle feeling accepted in this community. So I really, truly feel blessed.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dakara, for sharing from your heart. Thank you for sharing your talent with us. And all of us here are here out of just our desire to be with each other, to be with you, to share with you a little bit of our experiences. And so none of us are getting paid to be here. So if you would like to donate to Dress for Success, that is going to be in your chat on YouTube. You can give there to empower and help women who are underprivileged to be able to succeed, and get all their dreams come true. Before we end and I let Nina take the stage, I have a question from Ace Activist. I'm gonna just briefly touch on it. The question is, how do you choose your sets? And how do you try to be appreciative versus appropriative? And that is something that I am growing and learning in. That is not something I can answer for you in 2 minutes. But the way I choose my sets is I make relationships with people around the world who have home bars and home setups that are vintage inspired. And I photograph women at their house or at their home bar or at a commercial bar or at a commercial location that is dressed up in a vintage manner. If you want to chat more with me, feel free to DM me. But as far as appreciation versus appropriation, that is such a deep topic that I can't really delve into completely today. But thankfully, we have on the Tiki TV, there are tropical versus Tiki and all those things and history. So as far as Tiki Oasis is concerned, they are moving towards and have been moving towards respecting everybody from all cultural backgrounds. And that's absolutely my goal as well. And it's a little bit tricky when it comes to vintage things and just because of the way things have been portrayed and the way that things have been, you know, it's just what it is out there these days. Thankfully, we are able to learn more and we're able to make better choices. So if you saw a picture at some point that you find to be disrespectful in any way, share it with me, I'll take it down or whatever else. But I think that for the most part, I do my very best to respect everybody from every cultural background, and especially being a person of color myself, I really appreciate everybody coming to me and sharing with me how I can be better and how I can do better moving forward. And so thank you for your question, Ace Activist. Feel free to chat with me after the event. So we're right on time. I'm so proud of us. Nina, do you want to just kind of wrap it up for us? And I want to thank all of you, Dakara, Jesebel Thunder, Natalie, Ashleida, Bunny Pistol, Miss Shellshock, Vera Sapphire, and Ruby Champagne. Thank you so much for sharing with us about some stuff that was like very lighthearted and glamour and just the things we love about being part of the Tiki Oasis community, the vintage community, the pinup community. Thank you for sharing about all that with me. And thank you for sharing about the hard stuff, because we're all learning. And for those of you at home, thank you for watching. Thank you for learning along with us. And I think that we only have more growth and more, I don't know, I think we have good things in the future, especially with just what's been happening in our country here in the United States. I think we have good.
Our vice president is a woman of color. Hello.
Absolutely. Yes, our vice president is you know, from a woman and a person of color, and just so many things that all of us can really relate to. So personally, myself, I am very happy about that, and I'm looking forward to seeing like just the glass ceiling is broken and just so much more to come.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The more of these events that we do, like I leave with such a full heart every time. So I love that this is happening. Thank you so much to our lovely moderator, Susanna, and our gorgeous pinups for your time and your willingness to showcase your uniqueness and authenticity and your willingness to just show up, right? To be exactly who you are and be unapologetically seen is such a gift, not only for yourselves, but for the rest of us in the world. Representation matters. And a final heartfelt thank you to you out there, our audience, for your time, attention, and positive energy as we attempt to do what we can to bring a little light into the world, to make the world more accessible and safer for folks, who look like me or look like any one of our panelists. So if any of you out there are at all interested in finding out how you can get involved with the Tiki Oasis Diversity and Inclusion Council, or have any ideas for topics you'd like to see, or want to be a part of the Spotlight series that we're working on, which will focus on you, the Tiki Oasis goer, and your fun stories and memories of Tiki Oasis that are near and dear to your heart. I know I have a few. We want to hear from you. So just send us an email at info@tikioasis.com. I believe all that information was put in the chat earlier in the conversation, so you can scroll back through there to find it. Yeah, and let's see what kind of magic we can all create together, because this is clearly important what we're doing. And finally, we do hope that you will join us on the second Sunday of next month at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we will get to chat with a few of our Miss Tiki Oasis queens. We love our queens. So this will definitely be one you won't want to miss out on. Thank you again. Much love to you all, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye.